Well, I could say just hugely fun, and unfortunately, I think it's something that we've sort of lost for a while. But the actual event, of course, would start weeks prior, and in order to get the grounds ready, because only a once a year event, often with good rains, you'd have grass and everything sort of growing up and. Sometimes also, things needed to be repainted, and you could have had winds whereby the roof got blown off the watering canteen. Even, in fact, having a spray gun in the back of a ute to go around and spray the running rail, so that the horses could know exactly where they had to go. Then, of course, there'd be getting a bookie to come on hand, and he would also though require to be able to know what markets were, because people wouldn't just bet on the Barrow Creek races. They would also want to bet on interstate racing that was going on.
Where did the horses come from, and how many races were there?
That was sort of the last of where at the time where in fact they had grass-fed races, which means that the horses had to be sort of penned for up to a month beforehand. But the horses would come from around off the various stations. Obviously, these weren't just a station hack; they were actually horses that were bred to run, and they weren't actually just used for, of course, normal cattle work. They would then follow that up on the Sunday by actually having a camp draft. So they're spending time away from the station, getting reconnected with all mates and stuff like that. There was people who would travel for miles.
Can you just tell us quickly, Les, when did the racecourse open, and when did it ultimately close down?
It was opened from about the late 30s, and then, but of course it closed in the late 90s.
I've got some photos here of the now overgrown racecourse at the foot of the Barrow Creek Mountains. Can you tell us what you see and how those structures were utilised?
Significantly, the judges' stand was in fact one of the Oppenheimer's poles for the Overland Telegraph Line, and when correct weight was given, you can see a car brake drum, cast iron. So when this was used to be sounded against to signify that correct weight was given. There is also though a situation whereby for the start of the 1400-metre race, you could not see the actual barriers from the judges' box or the commentators' box because there was a rocky outcrop in the middle. So you had to send somebody over there and stand on the rocky outcrop. But there's also, though, I see here the old bar area. Inside that bar, well, we just made do with things, and there were some old cut-down fridges with the doors taken off in order that they were our chests for our ice.
And Les, on the horses, were there any legendary horses that ruled the track over the years?
Oh, no, there wasn't, although one does bring to mind Dig for Gold. That horse was doing so well, had won I believe, the McDonnell Range Cup, and had won the Hearts Range Cup, and the next one was the Barrow Creek Cup. So there was a lot of conjecture around as to if it would in fact win three races all in a row. It just didn't. On that day, it got pipped, and so there was an incredible amount of excitement.
Kindly today you've brought down some Barrow Creek racecourse memorabilia. What have you got, and what can you tell us about it?
Well, I brought the Barrow Creek Turf Club advertising sign, which was distributed all around Alice Springs, and it shows that the 1990 race meeting in Camp Draft was held on Saturday the 31st of March and Sunday the 1st of April. There's a race bridle for the leading trainer, a whip for the cup rider, novelty events for all the family, and of course one of those novelty events is we used to have dog races whereby someone would hold their dog and the other person would be up 50 metres away and call for the dog to race towards it. And I remember that Mary Petrick on one occasion, she swept the field with her little dog that no one thought would win, but Mary had this little toy that her dog absolutely loved and was chafing at the bit to get at this toy that Mary was waving around at the other end of the annex, just streeted it in. It was a marvellous thing. But on that day, there was $18,000 up for prize money as a 5-event program. So it sort of shows that in those days there was a good lot of buoyancy around in Central Australia and in the Territory as a whole.